When the bastard woke up, he realized he couldn't move. The handcuffs had crashed into his wrists and ankles. His eyes shot open in panic, darting around the dimly lit basement. Sweat beaded on his forehead. I leaned over, patted his cheek, and grinned. "Arrogant, aren't you?" I murmured, watching his fear bloom like a disease. "You drag my wife to your dirty parties, but then you dared to approach my daughter." His breathing hitched. His lips parted, but no words came out. Good. He knew what was coming. I crouched closer, lowering my voice to a whisper right in his ear. "You're already convicted. 10 years behind bars is guaranteed for you. But that's beside the point." He yanked at the cuffs, metal clanking against the chair's frame. I could see it in his eyes. He knew exactly what I meant. "When they find out they're what you tried to do to a minor," I let the words hang in the air like a blade over his throat. "Your life will be hell. You'll be nothing but a plaything for those who know no mercy." I straightened up, towering over him. His mouth opened and closed, but no excuses came. Not that they would have saved him. "Oh, and don't worry," I said, smirking. "They're already waiting for you." He started shaking. He should be scared. He had no idea how deep he had buried himself. But before I send him to hell, let's rewind a little. Let me tell you how we got here. Let me tell you how I found out that my wife, my precious loving wife, was a lying, cheating, soulless monster. And how, in the process, I uncovered something far worse. It all started 3 months ago. It started with the perfume. Not her usual scent, the one I had bought for her last Christmas, the one she used every day like clockwork. No, this was different. Stronger. Muskier. A scent that clung to her skin long after she walked through the door, as if it had been pressed against her in places I hadn't touched in weeks. At first, I ignored it. Maybe she had picked up a new brand. Maybe one of her friends recommended it. But deep down, something itched at the back of my skull, like an old wound opening up. Then came the late nights. "Work is insane," she'd sigh, kicking off her heels with an exaggerated groan. 2 back-to-back meetings, then drinks with the team. "You know how it is, babe." Sure. I knew. I knew how it was when we used to meet for drinks after work, how she would cling to my arm and kiss me in the taxi. I knew how it was when she came home to me, smelling of wine and laughter, pressing herself into my chest before falling asleep. Now, she came home exhausted, but restless. Her eyes darting to her phone, her lips twitching with barely concealed smiles at messages she would never show me. I should have confronted her then. Instead, I let it fester. Then came the missing lingerie. She never wore them for me anymore. The lace, the silk, the ones she used to tease me with? Gone. But not in her drawers. Not in the laundry. Gone. I wasn't stupid. So, I did what any husband in my position would do. I followed her. The discovery. It was a Wednesday. A normal day. At least, it should have been. She left the house in her usual outfit, kissed me on the cheek like she had 100 times before, and walked out the door. But this time, instead of heading to work, she got into an Uber. I tailed her. My heart pounded against my ribs, my hands clenched so tight around the steering wheel I thought it would snap. She wasn't heading to work. She wasn't even close. I watched from across the street as she stepped into a high-end hotel, adjusting her hair, smoothing out the creases in her dress. Not a single glance over her shoulder. No hesitation. She had done this before. The realization hit me like a freight train. My wife was cheating on me. My wife, my beautiful, loving, lying wife, was walking into a hotel in the middle of the afternoon to meet another man. I parked, took a deep breath, and followed. The receptionist barely looked at me as I strode past. My blood roared in my ears as I scanned the elevator panel. Floor 7. Room 714. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Then, a voice. Familiar. Hers. Shoo, someone's at the door. Silence. Then, footsteps. The door cracked open just enough for me to see her face, flushed, eyes wide with surprise, wearing nothing but a hotel robe. I had never seen her look so guilty. Jason? Her voice wavered, but I was already pushing past her. And there he was. Half-dressed. Smirking. Lying in the bed we had just replaced in our own home last month. I saw red. What the is this? My voice barely sounded like mine. The bastard sat up, stretching like this was the most natural thing in the world. He wasn't even alarmed. That's when I knew, this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a one-time thing. Oh, you finally figured it out, he said, grinning. I snapped. Before I even knew what I was doing, my fist connected with his face. He grunted, falling back against the pillows. He had the audacity to laugh. She screamed. Jason, stop it. I turned to her. She wasn't scared. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even trying to deny it. No. She looked annoyed. As if I was the one ruining her day. Are you serious? I growled, my hands shaking. You've been sneaking off to hotels, lying to my face, and you're standing here acting like I'm the problem? She scoffed, crossing her arms. Oh, please. It's not like you've been the most attentive husband lately. My stomach dropped. You're blaming me? I could barely breathe. She rolled her eyes. Maybe if you weren't so predictable. So boring. So obsessed with your stupid job, maybe I wouldn't have needed to find something more exciting. I stared at her. She wasn't apologetic. She wasn't ashamed. She was smug. Something in me broke. And then, her phone buzzed. She tried to grab it, but I was faster. One glance at the screen and my blood ran cold. It wasn't him. It was someone else. Multiple names. Multiple messages. Multiple men. I looked back at her, shaking my head in disbelief. How long? She smirked. Long enough. I wanted to scream. To break something. But then the bastard groaned behind me, wiping his bloody nose, and I knew. I knew this wasn't over. I turned on my heel and walked out. But not before saying the last thing that left her smirk faltering for the first time. I hope it was worth it, Emily. Because the next time we saw each other, she wouldn't be smiling anymore. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember the traffic lights, the turns, the roads. My body operated on autopilot, but my mind was stuck in that hotel room. Stuck on her face, unapologetic, smug, amused. And that bastard? That smug son of a bitch who smirked through a busted nose? I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. The rage was a living thing inside me, clawing at my ribs, begging to be unleashed. But I wasn't stupid. I wasn't going to let anger make me reckless. No. I was going to be methodical. By the time I pulled into my driveway, my hands were steady. My breathing even. My thoughts, clear. I wasn't just dealing with a cheating wife anymore. I was dealing with a woman who had zero remorse. A woman who had been playing me for God knows how long. And if she thought I was going to roll over and cry about it, she had another thing coming. The first move. I spent the next few hours digging. Bank statements. Phone records. Anything I could get my hands on. And oh, what a story they told. 2 different hotel memberships. One under her name, one under an alias. Thousands missing. Fancy dinners, jewelry I'd never seen, gifts I'd never received. Multiple men. Multiple goddamn men. It wasn't just one affair. It wasn't just one mistake. This was a lifestyle for her. And I had been funding it. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the mess of papers in front of me. I should have felt broken. I should have felt defeated. Instead, I felt a sick sense of clarity. If she thought she was the only one who could play dirty, she was dead wrong. The confrontation. She strolled through the door around midnight, humming to herself like she hadn't just spent the evening with another man. I was waiting for her in the kitchen. She barely looked at me as she tossed her bag on the counter. "You're still up?" Calm. Controlled. My voice was ice. "Sit down, Emily." Something in my tone must have caught her attention because she actually looked at me. I saw it, the flicker of hesitation in her eyes. "Good." She sat. Crossed her arms. Raised an eyebrow. "What's this about, Jason?" I slid the papers across the table. "You tell me." She glanced down. And just like that, the amusement drained from her face. For the first time that night, she looked nervous. She swallowed. "Where did you get this?" "Doesn't matter." A slow smirk curled at her lips, but it didn't reach her eyes. "So what now? You yell? You cry? You beg me to fix things?" I let out a low chuckle. "You think I'm here to beg?" Her smirk faltered. "No, Emily," I leaned forward, my voice dropping. "I'm here to tell you how this is going to go." She tensed. "Excuse me? I'm filing for divorce." Her eyes widened slightly, but I wasn't finished. "You're going to pack your bags and get the hell out of my house." She scoffed. "Oh, your house? Pretty sure my name is on the mortgage too." I smiled. God, she had no idea. "Not anymore," I said smoothly, sliding another document toward her. "I had the deed transferred months ago. You don't own a single brick." She snatched the paper, scanning it. Her face paled. "Bullshit," she hissed. "Check with a lawyer." Her hands trembled slightly. I could see it, the cracks forming in that smug facade. "You can't do this." "I already did." Silence. Then, she laughed. Laughed. "You think this is the end?" She leaned back, crossing her legs. "You're cute, Jason. You really think you're some kind of mastermind?" She shook her head, smirking. "Oh, baby, you have no idea what I'm capable of." I should have been worried. But all I felt was rage. "Neither do you," I said, my voice calm. Because I wasn't done. Not even close. The real bombshell. I stood up, walking around the table, stopping right behind her. I bent down, whispering right into her ear. "You should be more careful who you bring into our lives, Emily." She went still. "What the hell does that mean?" I slid my phone onto the table. Hit play. A recording. The voice? The man from the hotel. Only this time, he wasn't talking about her. No. He was talking about my daughter. Emily's face drained of color. "What is this?" My fingers clenched. "That piece of shit you've been screwing around with? He's not just a homewrecker." I leaned in, my voice a growl. "He's a predator." She shook her head, but I saw the horror creeping in. "He's been watching her, Emily. Messaging her." I slammed my fist onto the table, making her jump. "And you brought him into our house." For the first time that night, she looked scared. And she should be. Because I wasn't just going to take her down. I was going to take him down. And when I was done, they'd both wish they had never met me. Emily's face was a mask of frozen horror, her lips slightly parted, her hands gripping the edge of the table like it was the only thing keeping her upright. She opened her mouth, closed it, then shook her head furiously. "You're lying." I laughed. A sharp, humorless laugh. "Am I?" She lunged for my phone, but I yanked it away before she could snatch it. "Jason, you sick bastard," she shrieked. "This isn't real. You faked this." I slammed my fist on the table so hard she flinched. "Shut the hell up and listen, Emily." Her breathing was ragged now, eyes darting across the room like a trapped animal. "You think this is some game? You think I made this up?" I growled. "You brought a monster into our house. A man who," I inhaled sharply, forcing myself to keep my rage controlled. "A man who thought he could put his hands on my little girl." Emily blinked rapidly, hands shaking. "No. No, he wouldn't, he wouldn't." I pulled out another paper from my stack. Slid it in front of her. "His criminal record. Sealed, until now." "You're telling me you didn't know who the hell he was?" I asked, voice dangerously calm. "Because the state of Florida sure as hell knew. So did California. And Illinois. Want to keep guessing?" Her face drained of every last bit of color. "And then?" She laughed. A soft, breathless, insane little laugh. I stared at her. "The hell is so funny?" She wiped a tear from her eye, shaking her head. "You think you've won, don't you?" "Won?" I repeated, voice low. "Emily, this isn't a game. This is our daughter. You were so busy screwing around with that degenerate that you didn't even notice he was grooming her." She rolled her eyes. Rolled her damn eyes. "Oh, please, Jason. He wasn't grooming her. He just—" I didn't let her finish. I grabbed the nearest glass and hurled it at the wall. It shattered into a million pieces, shards flying everywhere. Emily jumped, finally shutting the hell up. "You disgust me," I hissed, stepping toward her, voice shaking with barely controlled rage. "I don't care what you do with your life anymore. You can rot for all I care. But our daughter? You put her in danger. And for what? Some cheap thrills? A little excitement?" She stayed silent. But I saw it in her eyes. The truth. She had known. Maybe not all of it. Maybe not in detail. But somewhere, deep down, she had known something was wrong. And she didn't give a damn. The bastard's turn. I grabbed my keys and turned for the door. "Where are you going?" she demanded. I paused. Looked over my shoulder. To make sure that piece of shit never touches another girl again. Emily bolted from her chair. "Jason, no." I ignored her. I was already gone. The trap. The bastard thought he was safe. Thought he could take what he wanted and get away with it. Thought he could screw my wife, sniff around my daughter, and walk away without a scratch. He had no idea who the hell he was dealing with. Tracking him was easy. People like him? They were predictable. Arrogant. They left breadcrumbs without even realizing it. A gym membership. A favorite bar. A little apartment downtown, rented under a different name, but still under his real credit card. I parked outside, hands gripping the wheel, heart pounding in my chest. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about justice. I wasn't going to kill him. No, that would be too easy. I was going to ruin him. Make sure he never saw daylight again. Make sure that every single person in the prison system knew exactly what kind of filth had landed in their hands. I stepped out of the car, cracked my knuckles, and walked inside. I found him passed out on his couch, half-dressed, stinking of whiskey. Pathetic. He didn't even stir as I approached. Then. Snap. The cold metal of the handcuffs slammed shut around his wrists. His eyes snapped open, but before he could react, I had his ankles locked down too. "The hell?" he slurred, yanking against the cuffs. I grinned. The bastard was trapped. I leaned down, patted his cheek. "Arrogant, aren't you?" His eyes were wild now, brain trying to catch up. "What the?" I yanked his head back, voice dropping to a whisper. "You dragged my wife to your dirty parties, but then you dared to approach my daughter." His breath hitched. I smiled. "You're already convicted," I murmured. 10 years behind bars is guaranteed for you. But that's beside the point. I leaned closer, whispering directly into his ear. "When they find out they're what you tried to do to a minor." I chuckled darkly. "Your life will be hell. You'll be nothing but a plaything for those who know no mercy." He froze. That's when it sank in. I stood up, staring down at him. "Oh, and don't worry." I smirked. "They're already waiting for you." His breathing turned erratic. "Jason, man, listen." I ignored him. Instead, I pulled out my phone. And hit send. A full package of evidence. Photos, messages, videos. Sent straight to the police, straight to the media, straight to every single person who could bury him alive. His world was over. And as the sirens screamed in the distance, I turned for the door, leaving him to choke on his own panic. I had won. The bastard was screaming. Not just panicked yelling. Screaming. Begging. Pleading. Like it would change a damn thing. The moment I walked out of that apartment, I knew his world was finished. The sirens were growing louder, flashing lights reflecting off the buildings. I didn't run, I didn't need to. I strolled past the cops heading inside, one of them giving me a glance, but I kept walking. It was done. He was done. But Emily? She wasn't. The battle isn't over. I stepped back into the house at 3 a.m., my shirt still smelling like sweat and adrenaline, my heart still pounding like a war drum. The lights were on. Emily was waiting. She was perched on the edge of the couch, her arms folded so tight it looked like she was trying to hold herself together. Her eyes snapped to me the second I entered. "What did you do?" I smirked. Tossed my keys onto the counter. What I should have done a long time ago. She shot up, voice rising. "Jason, tell me you didn't." I cut her off with a look. She faltered. "Good. That bastard?" I said, stepping toward her. "He's gone, Emily. In about 3 hours, his name is going to be splattered across every news station in the state. Child predator. Serial offender. Multiple victims." Her breathing hitched. I watched her break, piece by piece. "Oh my God," she whispered. "This can't be happening." I tilted my head. "Why? Because it's inconvenient for you? Because your little boy toy turned out to be worse than you thought?" She swallowed hard. "Jason, you don't understand." I barked out a laugh. "Oh, I understand just fine." She shook her head rapidly, stepping closer. "No. You don't. You don't know what he—" I grabbed her wrist. Not hard. Just firm enough to stop her from talking. "I don't care," I said slowly. "I don't care what he told you. I don't care what lies you let yourself believe. And I sure as hell don't care how you feel about it now." She trembled. Good. Because I had nothing left to give her. "Jason, please," she murmured, voice barely a breath. I didn't know. I let out another humorless laugh. Didn't know? I repeated. Didn't know? I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and pressed play. The recording of him. The messages he sent. The proof that she let this monster into our home, even when she had warnings. Even when she had chances to stop him. Her hands flew to her mouth. No. No, no, no. But it was too late. She knew. I knew. And there was no coming back from this. The final blow. I stepped back, pocketing my phone. You're done here, Emily. She looked up, eyes wide with panic. What? I nodded toward the staircase. Go pack your shit. You're leaving. She blinked rapidly, shaking her head. No. No, Jason, we can fix this. Fix this? I laughed. Fix this? Emily, there's nothing left to fix. She rushed forward, grabbing my shirt. Please, Jason. I made a mistake. I didn't, asterisk. I pried her fingers off me, my face inches from hers. You made dozens of mistakes, Emily. And you didn't give a damn until it came crashing down on you. Her breath hitched. You weren't sorry when you were screwing him. I took a step closer. You weren't sorry when you lied to my face, night after night. Another step. And you sure as hell weren't sorry when you watched me fall apart and didn't even blink. She swallowed hard, backing away. But now? I whispered. Now you're sorry? Her lip trembled. Jason, please. Save it. I turned away, walked to the front door, and yanked it open. The cold air rushed in. She stood frozen in the middle of the room, her entire body shaking. Where am I supposed to go? She choked out. I didn't answer. I didn't care. She knew damn well where the door was. And she sure as hell wasn't my problem anymore. The last words. She stood there for a long time. Maybe waiting for me to change my mind. Maybe hoping I'd break down and tell her to stay. But I just stared at her. Cold. Unmoving. A stranger. Because that's what she was now. A stranger in my house. A stranger in my life. And finally, she seemed to realize it. Her shoulders dropped. Her face crumpled. And without another word, she walked out the door. I stood there, listening to her footsteps fade, listening to the silence settle. And for the first time in a long, long time, I felt free. The door clicked shut. Emily was gone. I should have felt relief. Freedom. Some kind of peace. But instead, I felt the weight of 1,000 battles pressing against my chest. It wasn't over. Not yet. The aftermath of betrayal. I stood in the empty living room, staring at the place where she had just stood, where she had pleaded, cried, and lied to my face one last time. The silence was deafening. It's funny, the things you notice when the chaos dies down. The little things. The way the couch cushions were still slightly indented from where she had sat. The faint scent of her perfume lingering in the air, not mine, not my house's, but his. That bastard's. A slow, boiling rage started building in my stomach. I grabbed the nearest chair and flung it across the room. It crashed into the wall with a violent thud, splintering on impact. And yet, it wasn't enough. It wasn't nearly enough. I had taken down the predator. I had kicked Emily to the curb. But the scars of their betrayal? They were still here. Still etched into every corner of my home, into my mind, my bones. And worst of all, into my daughter's life. Damage control. I moved through the house like a ghost, feet dragging, hands clenched into fists. Then, a small voice shattered the silence. Dad. I turned. And there she was. Mia stood at the top of the stairs, wrapped in her favorite blanket, eyes red-rimmed from either sleep or everything that had happened. I softened instantly. "Hey, sweetheart," I said, voice hoarse. "Couldn't sleep?" She shook her head slowly. I motioned for her to come down, and she hesitated for a second before walking toward me. When she got close, I pulled her into a tight hug. She let out a shaky breath. "She's really gone, isn't she?" I closed my eyes. "Yeah, baby," I whispered. "She's gone." Mia sniffled, gripping my shirt. "Good." I blinked. Pulled back slightly to look at her face. She met my gaze, expression unreadable. "I heard what you said to her," she mumbled. I heard everything. A lump formed in my throat. She had heard it all. Every ugly truth. Every cruel, gut-wrenching detail. But instead of breaking down, instead of falling apart, she looked stronger. "I don't want to see her again," she said quietly. "Ever." I ran a hand through her hair, voice firm. "You don't have to." Mia nodded, and for the first time in a long time, I saw something new in her eyes. Not just sadness. Not just pain. But relief. Maybe we really were free. Maybe this was the start of something better. But the war wasn't over. The morning came fast, sunlight cutting through the blinds like a blade. I had barely slept. Too much to do. Emily wasn't just out of my house, she was out of our lives. Papers were already in motion. Divorce. Custody. Everything. I wasn't going to give her a chance to crawl back in. Not now. Not ever. I picked up my phone, scrolled through my contacts, and pressed dial. "Jason," came the familiar voice on the other end. "Been expecting your call." Ryan was my lawyer. He was damn good at what he did. And right now? I needed someone ruthless. "I want it done," I said, voice cold. "I want her out. No delays. No loopholes. Full custody, full control, everything." A pause. Then, a slow exhale. "Understood," he said. "You ready for the storm that's coming?" I smirked. "It's already here." And I was ready. The unexpected twist. I thought the worst was behind me. I thought the bastard was rotting in a cell. I thought Emily was finally out of the picture. But I was wrong. Because when I checked my phone again, there was a message waiting for me. A number I didn't recognize. But the words? They made my blood turn to ice. "You think this is over? It's not. You took everything from me. And now, I'm coming for you." The message stared back at me like a venomous snake, coiled and ready to strike. "You think this is over? It's not. You took everything from me. And now, I'm coming for you." I reread it, my pulse pounding in my ears. Unknown number. No name. But I knew exactly who it was. That bastard. But how? He should be locked up by now, rotting behind bars, waiting for a nightmare worse than any I could have given him. And yet, he was still reaching for me. I clenched my jaw, forcing my breathing to slow. This wasn't panic. This wasn't fear. This was war. A knock rattled my front door, sharp and urgent. I spun toward it, shoving my phone into my pocket. 3 a.m. Too late for a casual visit. Too soon for the cops. I grabbed the nearest object, a heavy fireplace poker, and moved to the door, my body tense. Another knock. Louder. I peeked through the peephole. Emily. Looking wild, disheveled, her makeup smeared, eyes darting around like she was being hunted. I didn't feel a damn thing. No anger. No sadness. Just cold. I yanked the door open. What the hell do you want? She shoved past me, slamming the door behind her. They let him go, she blurted, chest heaving. I froze. What? Emily spun around, her hands shaking. You don't get it, Jason. You think you're in control, but you're not. He has people. Connections. He's not in jail. He's out. And he's coming for you. I stared at her, my grip tightening on the poker. I should have expected this. People like him don't play fair. They slither, they manipulate, they buy their way out. And I had humiliated him. Taken everything from him. I exhaled slowly, my mind working fast. Good, I said. Emily blinked. What? I stepped closer, towering over her. If he's coming for me, then I don't have to go looking for him. Her face paled. Jason, please. You don't understand what he's capable of. I tilted my head. And he doesn't understand what I'm capable of. Emily let out a shaky breath, rubbing her arms like she was freezing. He's not just coming for you, she whispered. He's coming for her. My blood turned to ice. Mia. I didn't waste time. I grabbed my keys, my phone, my gun. Emily trailed behind me, still rambling, still pathetic. We should run, she was saying. Get somewhere safe. I stopped so fast she nearly crashed into me. Safe? I said, voice low, deadly. You think there's safe after what you did? Her lip trembled. I didn't know. I grabbed her chin, forcing her to meet my eyes. You knew. She swallowed hard. You knew what he was, and you still let him near our daughter. Near me. I let her go, stepping back. You don't get to play the victim now. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't care. I had one priority. Mia. I dialed Ryan, my lawyer, my closest friend. He picked up on the first ring. Jason? His voice was groggy. Jesus, do you know what time it is? He's out, I cut in. And he's coming. A pause. Then, I'm on my way. Good. Because when the bastard came knocking, I wasn't going to hide. I was going to end this. I drove like a man possessed. Mia was safe for now, tucked away with my sister, far from all this chaos. But for how long? I gripped the wheel tighter, my mind racing. I needed to be smarter. Stronger. Faster than him. He thought he could intimidate me. He thought he could win. He was dead wrong. Emily sat in the passenger seat, silent now. Maybe realizing how deep she was in this. Maybe regretting every single choice that led her here. Good. She deserved to drown in her mistakes. As we sped through the city, my phone buzzed. A new message. Unknown number, come find me, Jason. Let's finish this. I smiled. Oh, I planned to. And this time? I wasn't leaving until he stopped breathing. The bastard wanted a showdown. Fine. I'd give him one. The city blurred past as I drove, headlights carving a path through the darkness. Emily sat stiff beside me, her breath shallow, her hands gripping her lap like she was bracing for impact. I didn't say a word. My mind was on one thing. Ending this. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number, you're taking too long, Jason. Tick-tock. I clenched my jaw. He was trying to get inside my head. Too bad for him, I was already inside his. The trap is set. Ryan had done his job well. While I was driving, he had pulled every string he had. Every favor. Every backdoor connection. And now? The bastard was boxed in. Trapped inside a warehouse on the edge of the city. No cops. No escape routes. Just me, him, and the end of the road. I parked a block away. Killed the engine. Emily shifted beside me, her voice barely above a whisper. Jason, please. Don't do this. I turned to her, my expression cold. Stay in the car. She opened her mouth to argue, but I was already stepping out, shutting the door behind me. This wasn't her fight. It never was. This was mine. The devil waits. The warehouse loomed ahead, dark and silent. Too silent. He was expecting me. Good. I pushed open the rusted door, stepping inside. The air smelled of oil and dust, the dim light flickering overhead. And there he was. Sitting on a crate, legs crossed, smirking like this was some kind of game. Nathan. The man who had destroyed my family. The man who had tried to take my daughter. The man who had no idea he was about to die. Jason, he said smoothly, spreading his arms. I was starting to think you lost your nerve. I didn't respond. Just took a step closer. He tilted his head. No gun? I smirked. Don't need one. Nathan laughed. Oh, this is going to be fun. He stood, rolling his shoulders. You think you're the hero in this, don't you? You think you're some avenging angel, here to set things right. I kept walking, slow and deliberate. But let's be real, he continued, his grin widening. You and I? We're the same. I stopped a few feet away, my fists clenching. We are nothing alike, I said. He shrugged. A matter of perspective. Then, he moved. Fast. But not fast enough. I caught his punch mid-swing, twisting his arm until something snapped. Nathan screamed, stumbling back, clutching his wrist. Ah, you broke my arm, I smiled. Yeah. And that's just the beginning. He came at me again, wild and desperate, but I was ready. I ducked, driving my fist into his ribs. He gasped, doubling over. I grabbed him by the collar and slammed him into the concrete floor. Hard. His head bounced off the ground, a choked groan escaping his lips. I crouched over him, gripping his throat. You made 2 mistakes, I murmured. His eyes were wide, panic setting in. 1, I said, tightening my grip, you thought I'd let you walk away. His hands clawed at mine, struggling. And 2. I leaned in, my voice a whisper. You went after my daughter. His face turned red, his legs kicking weakly. I squeezed harder. And then. Footsteps. Loud. Fast. Cops. Freeze. I didn't let go. Not yet. I held Nathan's life in my hands, watching the terror flood his eyes. Then, slowly, deliberately, I let him go. He gasped, coughing violently, rolling onto his side. I stood as the officers swarmed in, guns drawn. Ryan was there, too, stepping forward. Jason, he said calmly. It's done. Nathan was coughing blood, shaking as the cops yanked him to his feet. Mr. Carter, one of the officers said to me. We've got all the evidence we need. He's going away for a long time. I nodded, breathing deep. It wasn't as satisfying as crushing his throat. But it was final. And Mia would never have to see him again. By the time I got back to the car, Emily was still there, waiting, tears streaming down her face. I got in, started the engine. Is it over? She whispered. I exhaled. Yeah. She looked down at her hands, silent. I'm sorry, she said finally. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. I dropped her off at a motel. Didn't look back. Then, I went home. Mia was asleep when I walked in, curled up on the couch. Safe. I leaned down, brushing her hair back. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. Dad? I smiled. Go back to sleep, sweetheart. Everything's okay now. She sighed softly, closing her eyes again. And for the first time in a long, long time, I believed it.